Welcome back, all sports fans, YouTubers, Facebookers, all social media across the nation. This is Uneducated Sports Talk. I'm your host, Clayton. Before we get into it, please like and subscribe to both Uneducated Sports Talk and Uneducated Network, both channels on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. That being said, we are here to recap the wild card round of the NFL, and we are here to preview the divisional round of the NFL. But let's start off with the wild card recap. Great games we had, all 4 games, well, 3.5 of those games. Let's get to one that was part of that half. Indianapolis visited the Houston Texans, and this one, it just didn't feel right from the start for the Houston Texans. They give up a touchdown in the beginning, and they cannot score. Here's the reason why I had the Colts winning. I said that Houston just didn't have the firepower. No Demaryius Thomas, no Will Fuller. I mean, their O-line is probably the worst in the league, and Indianapolis their defense has been phenomenal over the last 8 weeks, it seems like. So this team came into a buzzsaw, which was the Indianapolis Colts. I felt like the Colts were just more experienced with Andrew Luck as a quarterback. Deshaun Watson is going to be really, really good in this league. It's going to be great. But the problem is he doesn't have anyone to throw to. There is no one to say, you know what, and outside of Hopkins, who came in injured. He already had a bad shoulder coming into the game. And so he was limited himself. Pretty much it just tells you how good he is over the last month and a half. He's been hurt, and he's been putting up exceptional numbers. But in the playoffs, where things are a little more tight, and Deshaun Watson was a little more tight, and Luck came in, and even though you have J.J. Watts and you have David Clowney, those guys, if they're not getting the pressure in that back end of the secondary, it's not the best in the league. Let's just be honest about that. So they had their struggles in the first half. Now, the second half, Colts kind of played a little bit, let's eat the clock up a little bit. But because if you're up 21-0, I mean, if you can't win up 21-0, I don't know why you're in the lead, then, especially in the playoffs. But you're up 21-0, so they kind of put the brakes to the car. But Houston got stops, but their offense couldn't do anything. Outside of that one touchdown drive they had, it was nothing. Shout out to the Colts defense. They've been real all year, and now with that win, that automatically means they're going to Kansas City to face the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, Houston's going to be out there just looking for another year. So the next game, which is probably the marquee game of that weekend, was Seattle Seahawks visiting the Dallas Cowboys. And this game we knew was going to be close. Both teams are eerily similar, but I had to go with the home team, which was the Dallas Cowboys, because if it's 2 teams and they're the same, well, let's just go with the team who has the advantage, Dallas Cowboys. That was pretty simple. Well, Dallas wins 24-22, and an amazing game, back and forth kind of game. We knew what was going to happen. We knew that both defenses would come out and play well, and we knew that both quarterbacks were kind of the key. Well, need to say that maybe Dak Prescott probably outplayed Russell Wilson just a little bit. Now, there are key moments, 3rd and 14. And if you stop them, if you're in Seattle, I believe the score was 20. I don't know. It would have been down by 6 if they would have just let them get the field goal. But 3rd and 15, and Dak Prescott gets the first down, and they go for a touchdown, which pretty much salted the game. But Dallas' defense is for real. Seattle defense is for real as well. Both teams collided, and you knew it would be kind of a grinded-out game, and it was. Well, Ezekiel Elliott got his touches, and he's going to always get his touches. What he does with his touches is how the Dallas Cowboys will win or lose. And he got his touches, and he did a fine, good job in this game to, over 100 yards rushing once again. So if Zeke is going off, it doesn't matter about anybody else. I don't care. If Zeke goes off, you can care less about Mark Cooper's stats. You can care less about the tight end stats. You can care less about anybody else's stats, even Dak's stats. But if Zeke is going off, Cowboys are going to win the game, and that is exactly what happened. The Cowboys won the game, time possession, great defense, great on 3rd down, and they show why at home they're extremely, extremely tough to beat. That's 8-1 at home. So they would have to wait for the winner out of Chicago and Philadelphia to see who they're going to play. But let's go with the Chargers and the Ravens, and we got this one totally wrong. In the beginning, the Ravens looked like they did not know what they wanted to do with the football. Lamar Jackson, he has a small hands, and he's not the biggest, strongest guy. So when he gets hit, he loses the ball a lot. And in 7 games he played in this year, he lost about 12 times, 12 fumbles. I don't know how many were for lost fumbles, but 12 fumbles in 7 games. That's a big amount. And guess what? The Chargers said, we're going to go ahead and study this. I know NFL is a copycat league. The good thing, I didn't really believe the fact that the Chargers saw once they were going to stop it again. I didn't, but that tells you how good the NFL is. Once you see something once, you prepare for it, and you study it, you're going to want to do it again. And you're going to get better at it. The Chargers saw what the Ravens did to them just a couple weeks ago, and they say, you know what? We're not going to let that happen again. I think the Ravens got a little bit too cute on a couple plays in the first quarter, which got them that insurmountable lead, what we thought. Chargers took care of business, used great field position to score their touchdowns or their field goals. They went up and I believe they hit 5 straight field goals to start the game up. And 15-0 against a Ravens team that isn't built to come back from a 15-point lead, that's a good start. They took advantage by getting points. They knew that points were coming at a premium. Get your field goals. And guess what? The Chargers have a field goal kicker now. And he is doing an exceptional job. The Chargers' weakness over the last, feels like a decade, when it comes down to the playoffs and to the regular season, is their field goal kicker. Well, this guy stepped up, I believe, going 6 for 6, and what an amazing job. You go 6 for 6 in a playoffs game, you're going to get a raise or a bonus somewhere for the regular season. So the Chargers might have found their kicking and have solved their kicking woes, and that helped them out big time. 12-3 going into it, and Justin Tucker, who is probably the greatest kicker that we know of right now, he missed a 50-yard field goal kick to the right, which could have made it a 12-6 game, still one possession, but he missed that, and I believe when he missed that, all hope was sort of lost. Now there are chats about or chants about Joe Flacco getting in the game. I said there's no way in the hell you put Joe Flacco in, and especially when the score was, I believe, 23-3 at one point, they were saying bring Joe Flacco in. I'm like, you've invested so much in Lamar Jackson as it is, and those fans, I understand frustration, and I understand that your team was going to lose the game. That's why you booed and booed and booed and booed. But here's my thought. Lamar Jackson's the only reason why you guys are actually here in the first place. So let the man get his slumps out, and he'll be back next year with a full training camp. Now, with that being said, Lamar Jackson still brought them back to a 23-17 loss. They had a chance to win the game, as a matter of fact, with about 40 seconds to go with the ball. You score a touchdown, you win. But Lamar Jackson and the offense isn't built for that type of style. And then he loses the football again. And that's all she wrote. The Chargers, with that was probably the toughest game the Chargers, as a defense, are going to see. Now you have a conventional offense in New England that you're going to face, and you can play more your traditional defense. They were playing with 11 guys on the field, 7 guys with DBs. That is unheard of. 7 defense backs, so they knew they had a game plan. Guys were faster to the football, and guys were hitting at the point of contact, and that's what I love about defensive coaching in the NFL. When you adjust, how do you adjust? And they adjusted very well to that Ravens triple option attack. So the Chargers are going in, and guess what? They're looking good. They're looking good. I didn't believe it all year, but with that win let me know that this team is for real. Like, for real, for real. So let's get back to our nightcap for that game. It was the Philadelphia Eagles, defending Super Bowl champions, going into Chicago to face Mitch Trubisky and company, Khalil Mack and company. Philadelphia wins 16-15 off of a Cody Parkey doink, a double doink, and he's been Mr. Doink all year, and it's tough, and I feel bad for kickers. At the same time, you have one job to do, and that's to make the field goal. But at the same time, you're probably only a few percentage of the whole entire world who can make those field goals. Here's my thing, Chicago. You got Mitch Trubisky as your quarterback. Well, now you got to face it. Yes, you can blame the kicker all year if you want to, and understandably so. It's 43 yards, but that is no gimme in today's NFL. 43 yards is not a gimme. But here we go. You want to blame the kicker, but when your offense can only give you 15 points combined, you need to blame the offense. I'm sorry. Mitch Trubisky should have had about 5 interceptions in that game. Should have. I think he threw none, but he should have had 5 because of his bad accuracy. It is what it is. Everyone wants to blame the kicker. It is not the kicker's fault entirely. Yes, he double doinked it. We saw it. Doink, doink. When you cannot score in today's NFL, you are going to have a problem. Yes, you have Khalil Mack and company. That defense has been good all year. But when you have an offense that struggles, that will come back to haunt you in today's NFL. We just saw the Eagles. I mean, excuse me. We just saw the Ravens, and we saw Chicago. Both two of the best defenses in today's game. They couldn't score. They couldn't score. And if you can't score, the defense can only do so much. Chicago defense can only do so much. 16 points to the Eagles. And I mean, let's talk about the defense for a second, though. Khalil Mack. And here's one of the reasons why I agree with John Gruden from the start to trade Khalil Mack. He's a defensive end / outside linebacker who comes in for a 3-4 technique. But my thing is, why would I give $141 million to a position that may or may not change the whole entire game? I would rather give 141 to a defensive tackle who could push up the middle like Aaron Donald. I see that. But $141 million to an outside linebacker or a defensive end who may or may not wreck a game, I'm not quite sure. But I'd rather a guy who can penetrate in the middle every single time. If you penetrate in the middle, you can wreck a game all the time. As an Aaron Donald, he can wreck the game anytime he wants. Khalil Mack got stone cold turkey by Jason Peters, who is still a great left tackle, but he's come off an ACL injury. He's he's not the quickest left tackle anymore, but he's still very, very, very good. But he's also not getting paid $141 million. And as my son is in here, watch out, son, get out of here. My son is, get out of here. $141 million to Khalil Mack, and he doesn't get a single sack. Barely getting pressures. He didn't really have a pressure in this game. We just paid you $141 million to give us nothing? Really? Zero. Zilch. Nada. That is why I was in the, look, I was John Gruden. I was like, get rid of him then. $141 million to an outside linebacker or a D end, that is not my forte. I wouldn't do that. And, so John Gruden let him go. But Khalil Mack, my thing is at $141 million, you have to. It is a must that you come in there and you disrupt the game, especially in the biggest game of the season in the playoffs. Khalil Mack did not do that. Yes, Jason Peters is great, but he's not getting paid $141 million. He's getting paid probably $10 million a year. And probably less, but Khalil Mack is getting paid well over $20 million a year. And you don't get a single sack, barely got a pressure in the game. No, I don't like that at all. So they got what they deserved. Khalil Mack's still a great player. He's still an all-time great, but at that position, I don't like that kind of money going to that position because you're iffy with that one. So Philly goes in there. I ain't even talking about Philadelphia yet. What a great story with Nick Foles. Nick Foles is just like on Mount Rushmore of like playoff QBs or an ignition to a team. Nick Foles comes in after Carson Wentz gets hurt, and Nick Foles has not let off. He looks good. Look, against the Chicago Bears defense, you're going to have your flaws, especially playing there. But you went in there and you dominated. You dominated the line of scrimmage. And Nick Foles, he made just enough good plays against that great defense. That's a really, really good defense. So they did a hell of a good job. I thought Chicago's defense would just be swarming on the Eagles. It wasn't that type of defense, although they played against an offense that couldn't score. So shout out to the Eagles. Golden Tate with the game-winning touchdown. Nick Foles with a game-winning throw touchdown. These guys have been added. These guys, they're kind of, let's just say, new to the team. We could be honest. Nick Foles has been there for a few years now, but he's still new to the team when he's in the game. And when you think about it, man, the Eagles have a lot of weapons. When you add in Darren Sproles as well, who is going to be an X factor for the upcoming game against the Saints, we're going to break all that down in just a few minutes. So these guys they got a game plan, and I think they're going to stick with it, and they're going to do maybe some wonders in the NFL, and they could probably go back to the Super Bowl. Would that be crazy? Nick Foles back-to-back to the Super Bowl. Are you really going to keep Carson Wentz? Are you going to really get rid of Nick Foles? Woo, that's tough. I hate to be a Phillies fan that happens. So let's get on to our divisional round. That was our wild card recap. Let's preview the divisional round. We got the Colts at the Kansas City Chiefs. And we have Indianapolis, who just had a win over Houston, who looks pretty freaking good. As of right now, it is snowing in Kansas City. I thought to myself, man, who would that hurt more? It's got to hurt the Colts. They're an indoors team. Now they have been very much balanced over the last half of the season with Marlon Mack and Hines and those guys run the ball. with Andrew Luck throwing the ball. But Kansas City's the home team. They're outdoors already. Will the snow affect them that much? I don't think it'll be that bad. But, man, this is going to be very interesting. I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs to win this game. One, they're the better team. Better, well, I can't really say better quarterback, but, man, Pat Mahomes might be the MVP. I think just more weapons, and they're built on playing with leads. If they can get a 10-point lead somewhere in the first or second quarter, good luck Indianapolis, because now their D linemen are going to be, who is their strength? Their front seven is their strength. And they can get at it now. The back four, they don't have to worry too much because the snow, it kind of stops you from running crisp routes. You know, and if they can control the wide receivers and then control that run game, Kansas City's going to take this over. I got the Chiefs winning 27-17 over the Colts, and I got the Chiefs moving on to the conference championship for the AFC. The night game, which is probably, like, Dallas attracts a lot of people, but this might just be the best game of the wild card weekend when you talk about the Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Rams. And Dallas offered that great win over Seattle. How are they going to respond now being on the road? Because we know how good they are at home. But on the road, they're a little tad bit different. I mean, a lot different. We see them play, you know, not their best on the road. And LA, they thrive at home. Now, the one thing that Dallas has going for them, they have tape. They seen what Chicago did to LA. And they also seen what the Eagles did to LA in LA. So they had the tape, and they know if we could play that style of offense or defense, excuse me, we'll see. But my biggest take is the Rams defense versus the Cowboys offense. That's going to be the big thing. Can they stop Zeke? And if they do stop Zeke and force Dak to throw the ball, I think with Aaron Donald and Dominican Sue, you pay those guys a lot of money. Now it is time to, especially Sue, it is time to stop that run game and do something. If they can kind of contain Zeke, well, now you got a problem with Dak, because Dak is not the most accurate quarterback, and these guys in LA, they're very, very hungry. So I'm going to go with a close game. The Rams winning 24-20 because they're the home team, the more explosive offense, and their defense isn't that bad. It's bad, but it's not that bad. And the Cowboys' offense isn't that good. I mean, they're good, but they're not that good. You balance that out with the Rams being the home team and with the more explosive offense. And Dallas having a really great defense, let's just be real. But when it comes down to the home, it was almost like if the Rams were playing in Dallas, I would have chose Dallas. But Dallas is playing in LA, so I'm going with the Rams to win this one by a score of 24-20. The Rams escape. I think it won't come down to a last-minute drive, because here's my thing. If it's a last-minute drive, Rams had a football, Cowboys on defense, who do I trust more? I'm probably trusting Dallas's defense more than I trust the Rams' offense if it's for a game-winning touchdown. So I'm going to go with the Rams, but I think they jump on Dallas pretty early and force Dallas to have to throw a lot more. That's what I believe. I think Dallas defense will step up in the second half, but it might be little too late. Rams win 24-20. On the Sunday's game, the LA Chargers visiting the New England Patriots. Now, this is going to be interesting. New England, we know, isn't the same team, but they're still good, and they still have a first-round bye. You know, product of your environment, the AFC least, right? But New England, coming in with a bye week. They're fresh, got their guys together. Tom Brady, once again, missed the playoffs. He is back at it again, but this time probably facing his toughest challenge in the LA Chargers team, who has a better record than they do, but they're the away team. Woo! This is going to be a good game. So I said Dallas and LA might be the best game. I lied. This might be the best game. The Chargers and the Patriots. I believe the Chargers face their toughest defensive battle with the Ravens. I believe now they can focus on a more of a traditional defense and stop more of a traditional offense, which is the Patriots, who don't have the necessary weapons as in past, as in Gronk, who's a shell of himself this year. Edelman, who's still pretty good, but he's a one-trick pony when it comes down to what he can do as a receiver. And then, so they're going to rely on the running game. But the Chargers are very good at stopping the run. So you got James White, and you got Sonny Michel, and you got Cordell Patterson. Patterson could be the X factor. Look for Patterson to get a couple big runs off of reverses or off of sweeps or something like that in that nature, or even a big kick return. If the Patriots can win the special teams, Patriots are going to win this game. If they cannot win the special team battle, the Chargers will win this game, and I'm counting on the Chargers winning the special team battle. I have the Chargers winning 28-23 in an upset in Foxborough. I've never really said that. Usually when the Patriots have home field advantage, I'm always going for the Patriots. But I believe somehow, some way, the Chargers who play, I believe, better on the road, because guess what? Their home games are like a road game. And it's tough to have a mixed crowd. You'd rather be booed by everybody than to be booed by some people by half. So I think they play better on the road. They've been playing on the road pretty much all year anyways. I think the Chargers go in there and they beat the New England Patriots by a score of 28-23. And I could be wrong about this, but I got a feeling the Chargers are for real this time. After that win against the Ravens, they can now be focused on more of a traditional offense, do the thing that they want to do. So our last game of the divisional round is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles, led by Nick Foles, visiting the hostile New Orleans Saints. And this one is not going to be what most people are thinking. The average fan is saying Philly is hot. Philly is coming in, and they're going to go ahead and make this an ugly game. It is tough. Last time the Saints had home field advantage, they won the Super Bowl. They won it. But think about that year, 2009. I hate to go back and stuff like this, but let's go back. 2009, they went 13-0, lost to Dallas, and lost 3 straight games in the season. And everyone was saying, man, they are not going to win in the playoffs. They're not. People underestimate how crazy that home field advantage really is in New Orleans. They underestimate it. Unless you've gone there, and I've been there plenty of times, you cannot fathom how much of a difference that makes, especially in the playoffs. There's a reason why in the Sean Payton, Drew Brees era, they are 5-0 at home. There is a big reason why. And they're only 1-5 or 1-6, I believe, on the road in that era. Let me tell you why the Saints will dominate the Eagles. I think it will be, score-wise, it'll be closer than what the game actually felt. I'm going with the Saints winning 33-24. Nick Foles had a phenomenal stretch going on, and they have a lot of weapons. And I think Darren Sproles can be that guy who can change things up, because he didn't play last time the Saints played. Nick Foles didn't play last time, but I think Darren Sproles will be the difference maker for this Eagles to stay in the game. But with New Orleans having a home field advantage and them having a break, and with Teron Armstead being somewhat healthy, everyone is healthy for this game. I think the Saints will dominate from start to finish. I got them winning 33-24. 33-24. They could score more points, so it could be less than that. Eagles, look, it's any given Sunday and everyone has a chance, which is understandable. But we're talking about the Saints playing at home and that raucous crowd, and Nick Foles, who just hasn't been in there. But shout out to Westlake, Texas, in Austin, Texas, Westlake High School. You got 2 guys coming from the same high school to face each other. Both have Super Bowl champions, Drew Brees and Nick Foles. That's to be crazy to even fathom that happening, but that is crazy. So shout out to Westlake High School in Austin, Texas, man. I just want to throw that out there. But Eagles, with all the weapons, Zach Ertz, Jeffries, and then they have Sproles and Golden Tate and Nick Foles. I think at the end of the day, the defense will not be able to hang with the New Orleans Saints. So I'm going with the Saints to win this one 33-24. It's going to be a crazy, crazy weekend, and we will recap this in a couple of days. So stay tuned for that, guys. So mark down below, comment down below who you guys have winning for this weekend out of each game, and who will face each other in the conference championships next week. So this has been Uneducated Sports Talk. I'm your host, Clayton. As always, sports fans, stay smart, stay uneducated. Peace. I'm out.